me see one. All right. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bar. I'm your host, Devon, here with co-host Tommy John, where we talk about more than just the stage. We go beyond that, further than the X's and O's. And just as a reminder, we are not doctors. We are not psychiatrists. We are just two dudes that love bodybuilding and coach other people that enjoy it as well. So don't take anything we say. I don't know. Beyond that, we'll just leave it there. Tommy, how
Yeah.
you doing?
Good, dude. Doing well. What's going on with you besides not being a doctor?
Yeah, a whole lot of not being a doctor. Well, let's see. Today I am let's see. Today I'm in the dining room. So I have
I was
the
gonna
liquor.
say, yeah.
Yeah, I got the liquor cabinet behind me that hardly ever gets used. I'm more of a
Yep.
collector than anything. Like these bottles up here that are about half full. I think I've had those for about 3 years or so.
Yeah.
Uh, I got some of my favorite tequila. I keep thinking I forget them backwards. Over here, that's all 3, 4 years old, but more so I just love collecting. Every once in a while I'll have a little sip, but that's where we're at today since I still am without an office. So
It's just for drying out for the show.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Drying out celebrations
Yeah.
and occasional birthday party or whatever else is going on. Ooh, I did just get a new piece of equipment for the gym.
What'd you get?
I got a leg extension, leg curl, 2-in-1. I think it's Rit Fit was the brand. I sold my PowerTech multi-press piece and then was able to basically just straight across for what I made, pick up
Hmm.
the Rit Fit. I just got it yesterday. I was out in the 96-degree shop, um, putting it together. I got it about all done, and my wife's like, "Bro, are you coming up for dinner?" I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't even realize it's been like an hour and a half." So I come up, I'm drenched in sweat. It was a light gray shirt. It was like the color of your shirt. And I came
Yeah.
up, looked like the shirt I'm wearing now. And my wife was like, "Were you working out down there?" I was like, "Oh no,
Oh
no,
no.
I'm putting it together."
You need a mini split in there, dude.
We really do. So the shop is a 30 by 60, and
Yeah.
the portion that I have that'll be built into a gym will be 30 by 20-ish, 15. So we have to wall off kind of the portion of it, but the plan is to get a mini split down there eventually.
Yeah,
Uh,
you would be good with a 12,000 BTU or 18,000 BTU. It'll be plenty. We just put one in my two-car garage.
mhm.
Um, it's just
Yeah,
so
it'll be about the size of a two-car
yeah,
garage.
yeah. So yeah, it'll be plenty for you guys.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I just need to get the wall up. Otherwise, it's just going to be a whole lot of air conditioning going nowhere.
yeah, yeah, probably.
Man, I know. I always forget that HVAC is kind of your original forte, but I don't know. What's going on with you?
So about that, HVAC is no longer my thing anymore.
Oh, tell me more.
So we have retired from heating and air after man, I over 10 years of a really good career. Um, Something I'm still extremely passionate about.
Mhm.
Um, Something I'll always have a love for. It's something I was naturally very good at, just like understanding how it works, right? I was just always very fascinated by it, and I did very well with it as a career, and um, arguably became one of the best at it. And I was um, it just started becoming too much. Um, Family time was zero to none, and
Yep.
then you add coaching on top of it, and I I got worn thin,
Yep.
and I hate to admit that. It makes me feel a little weak, but it came to a point where I had to give something up, and I had to pick something, and really. coaching is what I love. It's what I've loved since I was a kid.
Mhm.
This whole industry is, you know, the reason the reason I got into heating and air is so I can afford bodybuilding. You know what I mean? It's like it was one of the careers that, I went down that path so I can make a good amount of money and support my bodybuilding.
Mhm.
Um, that's really one of the reasons that I did heating and air, because it paid my bills and it paid for my bodybuilding. Besides me just liking it and stuff like that. But um, so now we are going full time coaching.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and I have to say that, lightly, because I do have a part time job as well.
Mhm.
Um, Really good friend of mine. I don't know if he wants me to make it public and stuff. I'm just kind of helping him out, and he's really helping me out, and he's just a good friend. He needs my help, so I'm going to be working with him as well,
Nice.
so helping him with
Congratulations.
some stuff for 3 days a week. Um, and the fact that I wish I could just spread his name all over and say how thankful I am for him, and things like that. So maybe he'll watch this, and he will know how important he's been in my life, and especially now, when this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my
Oh,
life. Is
I'm sure. Yeah. Even when I scaled back to like 4 days a week,
Yeah,
it was one of those things where it's like, am I doing the right thing? And then there
yeah,
were a couple of, there were a couple of days where like I didn't have clients. The day that I take off is Thursdays, which I've now moved the handful of in-person clients that I have to that day. So that's always a busy day for me. But in the
yeah,
past, like it was Thursdays and I had check-ins on Fridays and I'm like, okay, like what, you have that rhythm where you're like, okay, I do this at this time and this, and I was just like, what do I do with my hands? Like,
yeah, yeah,
and I want to unpack the statement that you made really quick because I think it's really important about feeling weak or lesser than
yeah,
because you were burnt out on your job that you also saw as passion. And I think at least I know from my experience, things change when you have kids. Like that 60 hours or 80 hours a week that you were putting in before, even if it's 40 or 50 hours, but the time you were putting in before didn't seem like that much. And then you have then you get married or, you have a kid. In most instances, it's you get married and then have a kid. But regardless, like you have a base of a family to some degree. And then those hours matter a little bit more. But then that family grows, especially to where you're at now, where it's like you have, your son who's one, a little over
yeah,
one now, and your wife and everything else that's going on. And now those hours really start to wear more than they did. And you've gotten used to working more and more because it wasn't a big deal before. But now you're like, oh man, I really want to do this with the family. And I say all of that to say I don't think necessarily that it makes you weak. I think we all experience burnout. I think it's a shift in priority, is what it sounds like.
yeah,
'Cause I've gone through the exact same thing. Like even now, I'm here home alone, and as much as I'm like, cool, I'm home alone, like always after the first day, I'm like, oh, well, I kind of miss my wife, and
yeah, yeah,
I do kind of
exactly.
miss I do
Yeah,
kind of miss the sound of the kids, but
right.
uh, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, part of me wishes, yeah, I wish I could have went on the trip with them, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's give and take, and I think that you relieving one passion with where this season in your life is to be able to take on this new venture, I think is going to be really exciting for you. And I'm excited for you.
yeah. I mean, it's in as cheesy as it is. It's kind of a dream come true. I didn't think it could ever be a reality. Um, and my friend Chase, we all know Chase. He really inspired me and kind of motivated me to, like, hey dude, like, you can do this, and so that was cool of him. So I'm grateful for him for um, supporting me, and I'm grateful for all my clients that even make this possible, that believe in me and trust me and things like that. Obviously, the support from my wife, my friends like you and Skip and AJ and everyone telling me that I'm worth doing this. You go through a lot of imposter syndrome, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't just want to be another coach on Instagram. And that's not to take away anything from any coaches, but like, I want to be different and set a bar and things like that. I want other coaches to look at me and be inspired. And, um, I want to become the best at it, just like I try to do, just like we try to do in every pursuit that we go after. So yeah, it was very challenging to talk to my boss about it. Um, Incredibly hard conversation. It's the worst breakup I've ever gone through. You know what I mean? It was like, man, it took a lot out of me for sure.
It's
I'm
tough. I think
yeah,
so many people dislike their jobs
yeah,
that it's
no,
almost uncommon when somebody enjoys what they do and where they do it. And I'm one of those people. Like I love the company that I work for. I love
yeah,
the owners. Like it is truly a family type feel. And I know that when I do get to that point, if the business continues to grow, and coaching gets taken on, like that is a hard separation to make.
yeah. And how lucky am I, right? That I was put in an unfortunate situation of, hey, I need to quit one of these things I love doing. Like
Right.
it's I don't want to sound ungrateful for that. That's a great thing that I had to do, but it was still hard. I still go through my head a lot about it. It's just you know it, and the guy I've worked for, like I've told all my customers, all my clients, this is the last guy I'll ever work for.
Hmm.
He's the last guy um, I will ever work for, and I meant that, and outside of working for my friend and helping him, I don't think I can ever work for someone again, and certainly not after working for that dude.
Yeah.
Um, it's just he became my best friend, you know, father figure, so um, I don't know. It was all very tough, very tough. It's I knew it would be, and then actually doing it, it's like
Hmm.
I wasn't ready for the conversation, and it's hard for me to even like make words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was tough, but yeah,
So
either way. So we're going all in on coaching, and
I love it.
that's what we're gonna do. So
I love it. Well, let's dive into that a little bit because I know
yeah,
so I'd made a um Instagram video, yes, 2 days ago now. I think it was 2 days ago. And it was in regards to I was helping somebody with their posing. And you had mentioned there's a lot that we could unpack from that.
yeah,
And it was more than just posing. Really, the general idea of the rant was be careful with who you choose. And I think this is actually a really good segue. Be careful of who you choose to be your coach. Do your due diligence as a potential client,
yeah,
uh, because there's a lot of people out there where, and I even spoke to this, who opt for their favorite influencer. Well, just because your favorite influencer looks the way they look doesn't mean that A, it's going to work for you. B, they're going to give you the attention you need. Or C, they even really know what they're doing because 9 times out of 10, they have a coach and they're just regurgitating whatever it is that they're getting from their coach passed on to you. So when a wrench comes in, they don't know how to fix it
yeah.
because it hasn't happened to them yet.
And
So,
and a lot of the times, I I I could get a lot of people really strong when I was focusing on coaching for powerlifting, and people would ask, "Well, why?" And it's like because I was never really strong, and I got myself really strong from being
mhm,
something that was like below average. I was the last guy to have 135 on the bench in high school and things like that. Um, so I worked for every pound that had to go on that bar. My genetics for bodybuilding, I would say they're average. I'm not going to say they're terrible and everything like that. I think they're average. Um, but I've had to work for every single ounce of muscle, and you learn a lot through that process. So
Mhm.
I do think your coach should look good and presentable. Um, but sometimes, the IFBBs, the best ones out there, some of the best ones out there, they don't know how they got where they are, dude. You
They're
know what
just
I mean?
really good at following instructions and
Yeah.
staying diligent to the instructions that are given.
And some of them aren't even good at following
Yeah.
instructions, and they are just God's gift for genetics and building muscle.
Oh,
And that's
prime
not the
prime
yeah,
example, real quick, and it's a
sure.
funny story that I've told a couple times. I can't remember if I've said it before on here or not, but I was at Emerald Cup, and it's a pretty big show in the Northwest.
Yeah.
It used to be like one of the premier shows nationwide, but nonetheless, if you succeed at Emerald Cup, like that's a good indication you're going to at least hold your own at nationals. So they've added a pro series to it now, where it's both pro and amateur. Andre Ferguson, who just won the Masters Olympia, was there and took first place. It was clear as day. He was taking first place. I was sitting probably 3 rows back. I was doing a live while he was on doing his prejudging presentation, and a couple
Mhm.
people immediately reached out to me and were like, "Yo, Andre looks good, but he looks a little soft. Like, did he miss his peak?" And I was like, yeah, he does look a little like he doesn't look like his normal self. He's usually razor sharp. So I see him after prejudging. I walk up to him, never met him before. I said, "Hey, Drake, you know, look good up there. Congrats." And he flat out tells me, he goes, "Yo, straight New Yorker, if you don't know Andre Ferguson, and he is not opposed to telling you how it is, zero filter." And he
Yeah.
goes, "Yo, no disrespect to these other cats on stage, but I'm not even trying, bro. I'm about to go eat some shrimp and have a drink, and I'll be back for finals to collect my check."
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was, and he told, like, after that, he goes, "I literally haven't even prepped for this show." He said, "I was eating McDonald's 2 weeks
Yep.
ago."
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
There's a lot of really good bodybuilders like that.
oh yeah,
Um, and then there's a lot of good bodybuilders that, man, they don't miss a thing, and they're
yeah.
still never going to be top 10, you know. And those are the guys I resonate with.
Yeah, the Branch Warrens, the Johnny Jacksons, the
Yeah, yeah. Fighting and clawing for every single ounce, and those are the guys you'll learn the most from.
hmm
Um, where you watch their timeline, like, oh, they've been in this just a really, really long time, and they're just too stupid to leave. That's
yep.
me. I'm just too dumb to leave. I've told the story before. I used to race my friend in his crappy Honda, and he would claim that he always won because after you hit a certain mile per hour, it's like, all right, dude, I'm gonna let off the gas, and he would just never let off.
Yeah.
So, the guy that never lets off the gas never loses. And I'm like, man, that's a life lesson that we just learned from your Honda Del Sol. So God bless you. It's like, but yeah, it's true though. The guy that keeps showing up, they're going to be the ones that have to learn through adversity. And they're going to end up with the most amount of tools in their toolbox later on, as well as, working through different client issues and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, some of the influencers out there, popular guys with a nice whatever, nice cars and lots of money, big followings. They're not always the best ones to take advice from. And don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, there's outliers.
Yeah.
There's outliers that have amazing genetics. They look amazing. They got a ton of money, and they're great coaches. Those guys are out there too. Don't get me wrong. Um, but yeah, all in all, like, um, to circle back, it was basically, now that I was going to get emotional if I said this earlier, I feel okay to say it now. Um, I was at my son's first birthday party,
hmm
and like, dude, I've seen this kid like 20 times total in his life. Like, literally, that's what I felt like.
Yeah.
Like, almost like, dude, I've missed so much. And
That's what made me change when I was in sales and I was traveling quite a bit. I'll never forget my oldest son. I would have to be out at the coast, which for us, where I'm at, it's about an hour and a half drive, but I would be there Monday through Friday. I would come home Friday afternoon, and then I would drive right back Monday morning. And there were gaps where, like, my wife would send me a video and be like, Grayson took his first steps
Yeah,
today. I
it's
was
the
like, what?
worst, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then it was like, Grayson just did this today. And it's like every week, because I literally only saw him like on the week. I was a part-time parent. I saw him
yeah,
Saturday, Sunday.
yeah.
And
Yep,
it's like I just saw him last week and he was like still crawling.
yep. Yeah, the problem became, and like I said, they're all good problems to have.
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday are coaching, dude.
Hmm.
So I didn't even have Saturday and Sunday. And in heating and air, you don't have Saturday and Sunday because if it's hot, you're working. If it's cold, you're working.
Yeah.
So you get calls in the morning, emergency calls, heating and air, and then you come home and you got to do your client check-ins. And I would be on the computer. So if I worked heating and air in the morning, let's say I get home at 2, I'd be on that computer until midnight until I
Mhm.
had to make myself go to sleep so I could get up again in the morning
Yep.
and get my morning clients done. Um, and if I didn't work Saturday morning heating and air, I was still on the computer till 10 o'clock at night. You
Yep.
know, the only time I was off the computer was to get my meals.
Hmm.
So where are my wife and son that whole time? I don't know. I have no idea. I was inside a computer screen for the last 12, 14 hours. And like I said, they're all good problems to have. Um, Not complaining. I'm overly grateful for, you know, these problems. And, then it came to a point where um, everything started to fall by the wayside. So
Hmm.
my training got worse. My family got worse. You know, my client feedback got shorter because it had to be. How could it
Yep.
not? How do you get through all your clients and give them the check in that they deserve when you have a million other things to juggle? So, there was a lot of things that I had to calculate, and it took me a little bit to decide, what to do. And ultimately, I obviously decided that my family, my coaching, my bodybuilding, all of those things were priority, no matter how much money I was making in heating and air, right?
Hmm.
And no matter how much I loved heating and air and all those things, now, you know, I'm I was constantly telling myself, what if I could put these hours into my coaching, into my family, into my bodybuilding? Where can I take all those things? And heating and air became almost a bottleneck for me. And one of my friends helped me identify that. He said the number one way to improve anything is to find the bottleneck and get rid
Yep.
of it.
Hmm.
And he learned that from one of his mentors. And once he said that, um, that was probably the last thing that helped me make the final call. Was, hey, dude, I think you found your bottleneck. And he didn't tell me what to do. He just left it at that. He's never a guy that would push you one way or the other. He's like, hey, here's what your
Issue.
world looks like right now, right? And he's like, I think you know the answer. Um, so that's where I'm at.
I love it. So, question for you. Um, when it comes to coaching,
Yeah.
I want to kind of tie these two together in the sense of doing the due diligence. When it comes to you, what are typically the steps? If somebody were to reach out, what are typically the steps that you take into onboarding that person as a client? What does that look like? So let's say I reach out and say, "Hey, Tommy, either so and so referred me or I found you. Can I get more info or, what do I do?"
Yeah. So first, I just kind of want some background. A lot of the times, it's pretty cut and dried, right?
Sure.
Hey, Tommy, I'm X amount of years old. I'm taking this, this, and this. I've used this in the past. I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to do it by this time frame, or I don't really have a time frame. I'm kind of just curious where I can take my body. Um, it's normally a type of story like that. They're all very similar, and
Yep.
everyone has their reasons for wanting to start. Sometimes it's competing. Sometimes it's Tommy. Hey, I got married 5 years ago. I let myself go. I can't even look at myself in the mirror anymore. I get a lot of those.
Mhm.
Um, so lots of walks of life. A lot of I coach a lot of couples now, which is just incredible. Um, you
And the
know,
statistic, I forget what it is exactly, but it is through the roof. Like when one person is on a fitness journey and the other isn't, their what is it? Their percentage to success is in like the 60 percentage or something like that. I think it is.
oh
I'll
yeah, yeah,
double check.
I
But
believe
when
that. Yeah.
but when both are on board, it's like 80 plus percent.
So it does a lot of things, and I'll get back to your question, I promise. But like,
Yeah, yeah.
um, as far as that, I mean, when you and your partner are one, you're just understanding of each other, of what each other's going through. If you're hungry at that time, um, you can help cook together. You can help cook for each other. All the food in the home is kind of the same stuff, especially if I'm writing your diet, you guys are probably eating
Mhm.
similar stuff. Um, you both start looking better, feeling better, treating each other better. Your relationship grows stronger. You're physically potentially more attracted to each other, not saying you weren't before, but a lot of the times it sparks, it re-sparks something for some people. So I've heard, right? Um, so that's all really important to me because I feel like I'm doing more than just helping someone lose weight at that point or just get abs to post on Instagram, right?
Yep.
So all that stuff's real good. But yeah, long story short, someone will send me an email like that, typically through my website or the Chase Irons form,
Mhm.
or they'll DM me on Instagram. My cell phone number is all over Instagram now, so they'll text me sometimes, call me, and a lot of them want to hop on a phone call. So I'll chat with them, get a quick rundown,
Yep.
and then I send them a simple intake form,
Yep.
right? So we all have some sort of onboarding form, and a lot of it's going to be a lot of the stuff that we potentially already spoke about on the phone. Some
That's what
people,
I
yeah,
tell everybody. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna send you the link to my intake form. A lot of it's stuff that we just went over, but I
yeah,
always like to
please
have it
put
on
it in
hand.
there
Yeah.
anyways.
But
Yeah.
I always like to have it on hand so I can refer back to it.
Yeah, when you're writing the plan, you want to have a reference point, right? And you don't want to miss any details. So
Yep.
yeah, so we send Devon or I will send you an onboarding form. You fill it out. Pretty typical stuff. Devon and I's forms probably look pretty darn similar, um, and that's where people are going to put the most detail in, right? But yeah, the first interaction is, hey, I'm looking to get started. My question is, when you want to get started? They're like, now. Great. Here's your intake form.
Yep.
Let's go. You know, um, they fill out the form. I have the diet ready within, typically a couple days now because I'm a retired man now. So I got all the time in the world to help people out. And um, that was another big shift in why I wanted to do this.
Mhm.
I can now help more people
Yeah.
and I can now get more information to my existing clients. I can be more detailed, and I'm pretty detailed already. You can ask some of my
Oh
guys
yeah.
and girls. Um, but now I have even more time to maximize that, give more information. Some of my clients are coaches, so I've been helping them with some of their, clients and things like that. So it's all been really exciting for me. Um, and now the fact that I can put even more into that and just give back to my clients, I mean, that was a huge pushing point for me. Is, hey, I can help, I can give my current clients so much more value now. um, you might see I've been posting my training more on my YouTube and
Yep.
trying to do voiceovers, kind of explaining what I'm doing, and a lot of people have found them helpful already. I'm starting to make some other little content here and there. I'm probably going to try to make a couple informative videos a week, and then all my training's going to go on YouTube every week. So at this point, I could be putting out 6, 7 videos on YouTube, and even if it reaches just my existing clients, I'm good with it. It's they deserve all that value and all that information because that's what they pay us for, you know.
100%. And just for the people listening and watching, I'm asking these questions not because I'm trying to promote our coaching.
No,
If you guys
no.
are here, you know what we do. If not,
Yeah,
it's pretty apparent what we do. It's more so you guys have an understanding that when you are looking to work with somebody and they are very good and professional at what they do, it's likely going to be more than just fill out this intake form.
yeah,
Um, and that circles back to, the influencer thing. Um, and it takes me kind of to my second point, which is making sure that you ask questions and you figure out if from a personality standpoint, it's which personality is not the end all be all, but it makes a difference. If you can mesh with somebody very well, the likelihood that you're going to stick to the plan goes
right,
up because you guys are on the same page. But B, you enjoy, like it's like nobody likes working for a boss that they dislike as a person,
sure,
or having an employee that they dislike as a person, or
yep,
even just working with a peer that they dislike as a person. So
yeah,
making sure you mesh, it's a big deal. And that's where things like having that phone call if the client asks for it, or sometimes as a coach will ask for it, like, hey, I'd like to get some more information on this goal of yours. Can we jump on a quick 10 or 15-minute call? That does a lot of things because it allows us and the potential client to kind of feel each other out. um, the next one that I really want to talk about before we jump into kind of the Q&A section
sure.
is speaking of is questions. Exactly, like what sort of questions do you like, um either to have asked, or I guess what are some good questions that people looking for coaches should be asking in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's important to know first why are you even looking for a coach.
Hmm.
You should know that, right? Um, if you don't, then there's not much to talk about, right? You
Don't
need
be a
to
time
know.
aside.
Yeah, exactly. So that's most important. Like, hey, what are we looking to do, right? That's number one. Where are we looking to take this? Um, you know, things like that are the first thing that you kind of get familiar with. I'm in a position now where when people are reaching out to me, they know a lot about me already because
Hmm.
they're typically a referral from one of my clients or
Right.
multiple of my clients. Um, like most people in the Chase Irons forum know me, they know my personality, whether they like me or hate me. Some of them still hire me, even if they don't like me or I insulted them in the past. And we end up becoming great friends, anyways, right? So, yeah, so a lot of that is already kind of established. But in my intake form specifically, it's just a lot of, hey, what have you done in the past? What's your schedule like? What do you do for work? You
So
know,
let's
what's
flip it from
yeah,
a client perspective. What are some good questions you think they should be asking us or you?
yeah. See, that one's tough for me because um, I vet any coach I'm going to hire.
Hmm.
I don't have many questions for them because I went to them
Right.
to help me. So a lot of the times when people are reaching out to us, because you and I, we're not in people's DMs like, hey, you looking for a coach? So I think a lot of their questions are potentially already answered.
True.
But if you might want to, as a client, I'll try to put myself in that situation. Um, hey, what's expected of me,
That's a
right?
great.
What the first and foremost, what's expected of me? Hey,
Yeah.
just so you know, Tommy, I don't want to be a competitor. Cool, good, right? Competitors are a lot of the times my minority. I work with a lot of competitors, but I work with a lot of people who are not competitors. Um, so people need to know, hey, does this coach work with lifestyle people, or do
Hmm.
they strictly work with competitors? It just so happens that more of my competitors tag me on Instagram and stuff. So when I'm sharing stories, a lot of the times it is my competitors, because my competitors are typically taking more pictures and posting their training and things like that.
Hmm.
So a lot of the content that I put out is geared towards them just because they're doing a lot of marketing for me, right?
Yeah.
So I think knowing a general idea of getting an idea of, hey, who do you coach, like,
Yep.
what's that like, and am I a good fit for you? A lot of people ask me that, and I think that's a good question. um, hey, is what's the meal plan kind of like? Do you prescribe
Yes.
macros, right? Or do you write diet plans? Nowadays I write diet plans. I don't prescribe macros anymore. I've had a lot more success with that lately, and a lot of people actually like it more. So those are important questions. Hey, can you help me with my training at all? Is it okay if I
Hmm.
send you video footage? Hey, Tommy, I'm really green to this stuff. Like, um, can you not give me advice, but maybe potentially, hey, what would you do supplement wise in this scenario, right? Because I can't give you medical advice because I'm not a doctor. But hey, have you ever seen someone do this and how did it work? Or have you ever done this and how did that work for you, right? So getting an idea of the knowledge that we have on certain topics is important. Um, but yeah, overall, I think that question stumps me a little bit, um, just because, like I said, a lot of that stuff, people kind of know who I am when they come to me. But if you're reaching out to other coaches, you're going to want to know, hey, is it okay? What, like, what's your response time like?
Yeah.
That's, man, I want to say that's one of the number one, I'll call it a flaw of
Yeah.
coaches nowadays is, here's your check-in, Devon. Here's my 4 statements that I made about your progress during the entire week. I answered 3 of your questions very briefly
Hmm.
and sent you on your way for another entire week without you hearing from me or more, right?
Yep.
So I've gotten feedback from clients about, hey, I was working with so and so and I just couldn't get a hold of them ever.
Yep.
And
The last 4 or 5 clients that I've got came to me for that exact thing. Hey, I heard that you're very responsive with your check-in times. I even had one guy because I have set times that I will do my check-ins because I
yeah,
kind of get them throughout the day. So I kind of break them into thirds. But every once in a while, like if I'm up at 5 a.m. doing my fasted cardio and I see a check-in come through, then I mean, I'm watching DC Titans. I can easily, you know, put that on pause for a second while I respond. And I
yeah.
had one guy, it was like, we're 2 weeks in, and he's like, I can't believe you even responded to me. And I was like, what do you
There's
mean? What do you mean?
there's a few times during the day, and they're probably 2 hour windows total, where
Yeah.
clients will not hear back from me. And that's when I'm training. That's when I'm doing my workout. Um, it's when I'm spending time with my wife and son. I am getting better now that I can actively put the phone down, right?
Mhm.
And I will put the phone on the other side of the room. Um, but typically, my response time is within an hour or two, and every one of my clients will confirm that. It doesn't have to be that obsessive, but um, and sometimes, the questions people ask, they don't have. Most of them will say, "Hey, no rush on this, but what do you think about this?" And I'll get back to them right away, because why not? Because if I don't, I'm gonna forget, and then I don't want to blow anyone off. If AJ did that to me, dude, which he's never done, I would be upset about that because that is one of my most important things is response time from my coach. If I
And I
if, if I'm reaching out to you, I need you for this moment because if I'm reaching out, I thought it was priority enough that it couldn't wait until my check-in.
Hmm.
And he's always back to me within 2-3 hours at
Yeah.
most. And he's, quite busy and popular. So
Hmm.
if he can do it, there's absolutely no reason you and I can't do it, right?
And I
Um,
will say this, if I think, first of all, I think within 24 hours is a reasonable time. Just for anybody who's
Totally.
out there looking for a coach,
100%. Yeah.
24
Yeah.
hours is a reasonable time. 12
Yep.
hours, great. Within 12 hours, even better.
Wonderful.
But the biggest thing is consistency. You don't want a coach that is going to respond the first few check-ins within 24 hours, and then after that, it's 48 hours or 3 days later or 3 days and then 24 hours the next week. And then,
Yeah. Yeah.
it needs to be consistent because it speaks volumes to how they operate their coaching as a business. I have blocked times
Yeah.
that, like I said, that I go through my check-ins. So everybody, for the most part, that gets their check-in to me on time gets a
That's a
response.
big thing. Yeah.
Yes. Now, here's the thing. I don't work Sundays. So if you send me your check-in Saturday night, I'm, you're probably not getting a response until Monday morning, depending on
Yep.
when I see it.
That's
If you get
fair.
it to me late Friday night, early Saturday, yeah, I'll probably get it to you before Sunday, or if I'm not that busy Sunday morning, whatever the case may be. But if
Yeah.
your check-in is on time, it is usually within 12 hours, but at most 24 hours. So
Yeah.
there's consistency that needs to be withheld. And I think that that just simply speaks volumes to how they treat their coaching as a business. Because if you are a
100%.
business, you are segmenting part of your business for operations, which in this case are business operations. Part of that is doing check-ins. And
we
if,
we deliver a service.
yeah.
So service is, we're in the service industry. I just came out of the service industry, right? I just retired from it. I'm going to keep saying that. um, but the number one thing that made our heating and air business successful was our response time and our
Yep.
sense of urgency. I learned so much from that owner and his son about how important it is to be responsive, to be professional, and to make your clients important, right?
Mhm.
Because they're the only reason we can do any of this shit.
Yep.
So, I had two different scenarios that happened not long ago, a couple weeks ago. I somehow miss one of my clients' check-ins, and he checks in on Friday evening, and I somehow, I probably opened it, left it on my screen, went and did something, came back, and I never responded to him. So he hits me up Sunday. He's like, "Hey, dude, I was just seeing if you had a chance to get my check in." I'm like, "Dude," I'm like, "why didn't you text me like the next day?" He waited like
That
two or three
happens.
days. I'm like, "Oh my goodness," I just felt so bad. And then I had another guy, a new client, and his VPN was blocking the Google check-in for him. So I
Oh.
didn't get any of his check-ins for like 2-3 weeks. And I'm thinking, oh, this guy just left, because that
Mhm.
happens. I'm like, oh, the guy, his priorities shift, maybe he got busy, whatever. I just never heard from him. And I don't reach out to people, no offense, but I don't. I don't hold hands. I don't babysit. Love you all, but no, I'm not doing it.
I
So
do one. I do if I don't see a check-in, I'll reach out one time. It's like college. I'll do
yeah,
I'll do the welfare check. Like, hey, everything okay? Oh
yep.
yeah, I forgot. Okay, cool. Well, that's your one. It's not one, and then you forget again, and I give you a nut. No, it's one. It's
No, no. Yeah, so I eventually did reach out to this guy. And so I say I don't, but I will occasionally. So I reach out to him. I'm like, dude, I haven't seen one check in from you. Right. And, he paid for the entire year. So I'm like, you haven't done one check in. I don't give refunds. And what's going on? Like, how can I help you?
Mhm.
He's like, dude, I thought you were mad at me. I'm like, bro, how can I be mad at you? I haven't even seen a check-in from you. And he legitimately, his check-ins were getting blocked by his VPN security or
Oh man,
whatever. So I didn't get any check-ins from him. I'm very organized with my check-ins.
right?
So, the rare occasion that I do miss one, I feel awful, but it's pretty rare that I miss one. So I've never gotten a check in from this guy. And he's like, dude, I thought you were mad at me. He's like, I was trying to figure out what I did wrong. And I'm like, bro, you have my cell phone number. Like, it's 2025. Just text me, you know? So yeah, he's a good dude. We're on track now, but um, you know, stuff like that happens. And I'm just like, man, you know, because they've been burned by other coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, damn, Tommy's just probably one of those guys. He already got my money. Now I'm not important. It's like, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Um, you know, that's one of my number one priorities. Like I
Yep.
said, and I'll beat it to death, is just being responsive because these people hired you for a service. They need you, they want your help, they value your opinion. You're supposed to be helping them and guiding them. That requires your time, your effort, your responsiveness, your sense of urgency. Um, it's it's all so important. It's so much more than sending someone a diet,
I agree.
right? Hell, my fitness pal can send you a diet. That you know that's you can download diets online, right? Um, so
And
yeah,
help
it's
us help you. Friday or whatever day your check-in comes every week. You know when it is. Set a
yeah,
reminder in your phone if somehow you forget that you've been working with your coach for months on end and oh, that's right, it's Friday and I forgot to
yeah,
send my check. We've been doing this for how like that's like showing
right,
up to work and not having the tools you need for work and being like, "Oh, I forgot my tools today." And it's like
yeah,
you know you work today, right?
yeah,
Like help
exactly,
us help you. I can't, I can't, and Tommy can't, and no coach can help you if a check-in is due on a certain day and you send it 3, 4 days late. Like we're already into that next week. Any
yeah,
changes we make, we're not getting a proper amount of feedback to know if that's going to work. So the only course of action is to run the week and then make the change the following check-in. So please, for the
yeah,
love of Jeebus, everybody out there that is with any coach, put a reminder in your phone if you need to, reoccurring every
yeah.
day,
That's
every
crazy.
week on
Yeah,
the same day. Send check-in. Do it first thing when you wake up, or I really don't even care. Just find a time that works that you're
yeah.
consistent. So I gotta say that before we move into Q&A.
Well, it's funny. My friend Dylan, you know, one of my clients, a really good
Mhm.
client. Um, he was just in Mexico. He still sent me a check in.
Yeah, I
Like,
didn't
hey,
miss one.
dude.
I mean,
Yeah.
You can ask Skip. I did not
Oh, I've
miss
never missed one.
one,
I've never.
one.
I
Whether I,
I sent him photos from the hospital bathroom when my son was born because Landon was born on a Thursday. So Saturday morning, I sent Skip my photos right
Mhm.
from the bathroom. You know, it's just like, hey, I don't have a scale with me, but here's how I'm looking right now.
Yeah,
I've eaten like shit. I've slept like maybe 2 hours, but here we are. Right. So
and honestly though, that check-in is better than no check-in because from a coach's standpoint, it lets me know where you're at mentally, physically, emotionally. And
yeah,
it might be one of those things where it's just like, hey, you know what, Tommy, with everything you got going on right now, let's just chalk this up to a deload week. I want you to actually go ahead and just eat 3 square meals a day, even if that's hospital food. Take a rest. Don't worry about going to the
yeah,
gym and just,
yep.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah, that's so and you just keep the routine, right?
yep,
You know, hey, I was sick this week, didn't train all week. If that's all your check-in says, cool. You and I both know what I'm about to say. Back on plan. Let's
yep,
not change anything. Let's get you healthy. Let's get you back in the gym slowly and start ironing things back
yep,
out. And we'll just keep the ball rolling, right? Because one missed workout, one missed meal is only one missed workout away from getting on track and
yep.
one missed meal from being right back on track. Um, that's going to be on my gravestone. You know, hey, I missed a meal. What should I do? Hit your next one and let's
Yep.
roll. You
And
know,
get right back to it.
get right back in it. Yeah,
All
um,
right.
yeah,
You ready
that's
for some
good.
Q&A?
Let's do them. Yeah,
All right. So the first one comes from Skeptic Cyclist. Are deadlifts good for hypertrophy or are there better alternatives for back? So this is specifically, it sounds like in regard to back movements. Would you classify deadlifts as a good hypertrophic, if that's even a word, hypertrophic movement for the back, or is there better movements you would program.
We're talking like a deadlift from the floor, like a
Yeah, we'll
conventional.
just say just a,
Okay.
a traditional deadlift.
Yeah. My opinion is different on this for different folks. For me, it's not good because my leverages are in favor of deadlifting. All they do is make me incredibly strong. I maybe grow my traps a little bit, but dude, I have a 6'2" wingspan and I'm 5'9". I've deadlifted over 735 pounds and my back did not grow from deadlifts. And then there's people have different proprioception when they're deadlifting of the muscles they can feel.
Hmm.
Some people, it blows their lats up. For me, it doesn't. It doesn't do anything.
I feel
Um,
it through the erectors
sure.
generally, and more so on the lower end.
Have you ever seen watch one of my training videos? You can see my erectors through my t-shirt.
Hmm.
Everything I do looks like my back is rounded because my erector muscles are so large. And that's from years and years and years and years of heavy deadlifting and honestly overuse of the erectors. But so yeah, my erectors got huge from deadlifting. That's cool, I guess. But yeah, so I hate the answer, but I would say it depends because some people, you know, when they deadlift, and it also depends how you deadlift, right? John Meadows made a video on this a long time ago, how to deadlift like a bodybuilder, as opposed to how to deadlift like a powerlifter. Powerlifters want some thoracic rounding. They want to make the arms as incredibly long as possible. And really, at the top, there's not much lat rhomboid engagement because you're almost staying a little rounded over. You're just locking out your
Hmm.
hips. You're
Yep.
moving the weight as efficiently as possible. Bodybuilding, you moving weight efficiently for bodybuilding is the last thing you want to do. You want to make it harder and be less efficient. You know, like powerlifting, the goal is to move the weight from here to here and the most amount of weight and have a judge tell you that it fits their criteria of what's considered a good lift. That doesn't always equal muscle mass.
Nope.
So that would be one argument. The next one is if they make you incredibly strong, that strength will carry over to other movements that may be more beneficial to hypertrophy, right? So, because of your strong, heavy deadlifts, maybe now you can dumbbell row a huge, heavy dumbbell with a ton of control. So maybe the deadlift itself didn't build the muscle, but the strength that carries over to the other movements, maybe that's what built the muscle, right? So that's a huge thing to consider. Are squats the best movement for hypertrophy? Sometimes, but maybe the strength you build off squats, you can now do heavier isolation movements like leg press or single leg press or leg extension. Maybe you can leg curl heavier because your deadlift is stronger. So there's a transitive property in some of these compound powerlifting movements that will carry over to your isolation movements that you could potentially now train heavier and still controlled because you built that base. Do I regret years and years of deadlifting? No. I do think it did translate to now I can dumbbell row pretty darn heavy, very, very strict. And I can't say that deadlifting didn't help me build that base, right?
Hmm.
If you can stay 90 degrees to the floor with a heavy barbell row, you're going to build more lats, right? When you start standing up more, you start hitting more trap. But
Hmm.
because of the strength that you earned from deadlifting, you can now hold that position, right? Because you have that strong posterior chain and erectors, you can now put yourself in a more optimal position to um, elicit the response from the desired isolation movements. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No,
So
it makes total
that's
sense.
the deadlift on its own. I would not use it as a hypertrophy movement, no, but it has a place in building strength that will carry over to what I would consider more beneficial movements.
I like that. I'm
What
gonna
do
go.
you think?
I'm gonna go a different route. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree with everything you just said. My take on it is on its own for a newer lifter. I think it can be a valid um, hypertrophy movement, but to all of the points you just made, depending on how that person moves it, can really make or break whether or not it's effective. Um, I will say the short of it all is I think you can target specific areas of the back more effectively through different isolation movements.
Yep.
Um, but again, for an unexperienced lifter where maybe the goal is just overall size, then the deadlift is a great movement for that. It's going to take care of a lot of different muscles throughout the back. But as you become more seasoned, I think targeting certain areas that need improvement, right? We're moving away from the hammer and getting more into the chisel. That's where it becomes less and less beneficial. But
Yeah.
I fully agree with the statement of utilizing it to build strength to then allow that to carry over into other movements that will better benefit the back growth.
Well,
Um,
one thing I want to add to this, and this is because I agree with you also. This is funny how this works, right? But I agree with you very much. And in my mind, first 5 years of lifting, five is like a generic number. You can even call it 2 to 3 years. You better learn the basic movements just so you know what they are,
mhm,
just so you know how your body moves as a whole, right? Um, so you can develop that CNS, that neurological drive. Um, I think you have to earn the right to train with some of these machines. And I think a lot comes out of learning the basics. I'm talking Jim Wendler. He doesn't let his high schoolers touch a barbell squat until they can do a 50-pound dumbbell for 100 reps squat, right? So they hold a 50-pound dumbbell like a goblet squat. They have to be able
mhm,
to do 100 reps before he'll let them put a bar on their back. Man, that's a great thing. So if you're just getting into lifting, I don't know that you shouldn't. I believe you should know how to do a body weight squat before you get on a leg press.
mhm,
I think you have to earn that right to graduate to the machines. And I'm not like anti machine and I'm not all free weight. I think the answer is kind of in the middle. You know me by now. That's
mhm,
always my answer. The answer is always in the middle. Um, for beginners, like you said, I think you have to earn the right to graduate into like some for years I used machines only, but that's because for a decade plus I used barbells and dumbbells only, nothing
mhm.
else, nothing else. I didn't even do tricep like push downs with a cable. I didn't even do that. I would do close grip push-ups. And of course that's an extreme example, but that's a close mentor taught me that. He said you need to earn your right to use those fancy machines. That's what he called them, old school guy, right?
Mhm.
What do you got next?
All right. Next one is this one actually comes from a dual client. Um, Adam Bernardo.
Oh,
Bernard,
our
yeah.
boy.
So you're coaching him on the back end.
Yep.
I am helping him with posing. Great
Yep.
guy. He's
Very good
gearing up
guy.
for nationals. And
Yep.
so his question was, as a working father and husband who's in prep, where do you start or where do you draw the line when cardio is cutting into sleep in order to fit it in? Not at that point yet, but been thinking about it as I see it coming down the road. If and or when cardio gets to 45 to 60 minutes in the morning, my daughter is almost 3, and playing my part around the house means getting to bed earlier really isn't an option without disrupting my wife's routine, just for some context. What are your
Well,
thoughts? Because
yeah,
I've gone through this several times.
yeah, we all have, right? Um, here's the thing. One, we don't know that his cardio is going to get to 45, 60 minutes. I would say
Sure.
it's probably not. I know a prep guy that might not give him that much cardio, right? But if it does, um, I always offer, once it's above 40 minutes, I offer that my clients split it
Yep.
into fasted AM and post workout. If you have to skip 3 sets of tricep pushdown to do your cardio, I'm good with it.
Yep.
If you have to cut your workout short of like fluffy stuff, like for example, like curls and tricep pushdowns, but you got the meat and potatoes of the workout done, I'd rather you cut the workout short, you know?
And so I agree, and I'll speak to this during my prep last year for nationals. We did have a moment. It was a couple of weeks, wasn't too long, but I had 60 minutes of cardio. Option A was wake up at 4 a.m. like I always do all
Yep.
60 minutes, and be pretty much dog ass tired throughout the day, and then go do my workout, and then go coach my son's baseball, and then go pick up my other son, and then go home, cook dinner, and spend time with the family before going to bed. So, what I did was exactly what you just said. I
Yeah.
would do 30 to 40 minutes in the morning. That way I could make it through the day.
Yep.
I would do my workout and I literally would cut out those little things. Or in the morning, I would knock out some ab work, or right after cardio, I would do some tricep extensions. But whatever the case, I made sure I got all of the meat and potatoes done. And then as
Yeah.
soon as I hit, for me, the 40 to 45-minute mark, I was doing my 15 to 20 minutes of cardio because I had an hour at
Yeah.
the gym before I had to be gone, or else practice was started and they're wondering why dad's not there.
Yeah.
So exactly what
Well,
Tommy said, split it up.
yep.
If you have to cut out because we're not building during this time. You're not building. We're simply
Don't
just
ever
trying to
cut out
not
sleep.
lose. And
Yeah.
so you cutting out 3 sets of tricep extensions or curls or sit-ups is not going to make or break your physique. Whatever's built has been built. Now we're
Yeah.
just trying to maintain.
And a couple things. One, don't cut out sleep.
Yeah.
Don't cut out family time.
No.
Never. And um, there's going to come a point where you start to lose the pump in the workout, anyways. We all know that point. We've all been there, especially in prep. Cut the workout before the pump is gone. Go do your cardio. I
Yep.
did it today. I'm not, I'm 12, I'm 13 weeks out now, I think. Um, I had a great leg workout and I had I had stuff left in the tank. And I'm like, okay, I can finish this leg workout and do my cardio later, which I would have to be doing it right now and I would be crying about it. Or I can skip my walking lunges
Hmm.
and do my cardio instead, and I think I'm going to hit whatever the walking lunges would have done on the elliptical anyways. So, and hey, that set of walking lunges, it's not going to be the difference between first place and second place, in my opinion. Um, and the cardio needs to get done, right? So
Yep.
in that moment, I favored the cardio, and that's something you develop over time as just maturing as a lifter and letting yourself be okay with saying, no, we got everything we needed out of that workout. I don't need to
Yeah.
do anymore. And that's just becoming in tune with yourself, right?
Exactly. And the other thing I mean, a third option here is, let's say you cut out the triceps. Okay, start your next workout with 1 to 2 sets of
Sure.
triceps.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. Hey,
But it's
I
it's
didn't.
really just about managing your time, prioritizing what needs to be, what has to be done, and what triage it. What has to be done, absolutely. Make sure that you fit that in. Other than that, get everything else done around it.
I've done things like where abs was my last thing and I still needed to do 30 minutes of cardio after my workout. What I would do is get on a cardio machine, get the heart rate up to 120, 130, jump off, hit some abs, jump back on. I just
Yep.
worked it into my
Work
cardio.
it like a circuit. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to bring some dumbbells over to the cardio machine and knock out your last few things, or just don't do them, right?
Yeah.
But if it kills you that there was something left written in your logbook that you didn't obey, um, just bring some dumbbells over to the elliptical or whatever cardio piece you're using, get the heart rate up, do some curls, get back on the cardio, and just like hit 4 sets of curls every 10 minutes. There's 40 minutes of cardio, and you got your
Yeah,
curls in, right?
exactly.
Real simple stuff. And like you said, you're not growing, you know, from those couple sets of curls. You're the OCD of us kicks in because, oh, this was written in my workout and I didn't do it. Man, workouts are not written in stone. Just like no football game or no sports game is going to go exactly how you expect it. You call audibles, you call different plays at different times. Bodybuilding's the same way. Hey, this isn't going to fit the playbook today. I'm going to have to skip those last 3 sets of chest flies because I'm not in a time crunch to get my cardio in. That's
Yep.
it.
Easy as that. All right, we'll do one more. We'll save the rest for the next episode. As we're running a little over an hour and my dog keeps barking at me to let her out. She's been locked
Oh,
up all day.
sorry, dude.
No, 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 you're good. You're good. Normally, because my wife's home all day, they're out doing stuff. So
Yeah,
she's been cooped up. So I had to take her on a walk and wrap a couple other things up. But nonetheless, this is a fun one. The other two are a little bit more in depth. I think they'll be great for the next episode. So we'll do
cool.
this one as a fun one to kind of end it on. What is one gym culture myth? She said some, and this is from Short and Sweet Savage, one of my clients. She's awesome.
Cool.
Um, Naomi, but what are some gym culture myths?
Gym culture myths. As far as um
I think just overall gym stigma. The first one that comes to mind for
okay, yeah, I
me,
like this question.
yeah, the first one that comes to mind for me is that bodybuilders are a-holes, and they don't want to be bothered. I've run into that firsthand with a couple of people, especially at my gym. I had a conversation with the lady who we had been to the gym several times. I'd just kind of, hi, how's it going? And one time I was done working out. She was kind of on her way out the door, and I took my headphones off and I said, "Hey, how are you doing today?" And she said, I have to let you know you are so much nicer than I thought. And I said, it kind of threw me
Awesome.
off because we'd
Yeah.
never really had like a full-blown conversation. I said,
No.
did I do something that maybe I didn't know, or have I said something? She goes, no, no, no. I just see you in here and your headphones are on. And usually if you have a hoodie on, your hoodie's up and you just keep to yourself and you seem like you don't really want to be bothered. And I just kind of laughed. I said, I'm really sorry. Like for me, the gym is the 1 hour that I get to myself. I said I immediately go from here to go pick my son up. I have to have him picked up by, such and such time. So it gives me almost exactly an hour from the time I park to the time I lift. I said, but please, if you ever see me, I'm more than happy to talk or just whatever. And she was just blown away, and it was really funny. We both kind of left laughing, but I think that that's a stigma, and I've come to find out that most of the time, I mean, there's always the outliers and the a-holes, but
Yeah.
most of the time, the bodybuilders in the gym are the people that are the most willing to help or cheer somebody
100%.
on. I mean, if you're somebody starting out and you don't have a direction or you don't know how something works or you're not sure how to do a movement, I promise you, go find the biggest guy in the gym, ask him, and 9.5 times out of 10, he's going to do any and everything he can to help you.
Yeah, my mind kind of went there first. Like, especially when we're in prep and, we're kind of looking vascular and just not
Freaky,
human,
yeah.
not normal, right? So some people will be like, oh, that guy's, egocentric or cocky. And it's like, um, I've made so many friends in the gym and I don't do it during my workout. And that's no offense to anyone. Um, I just have no desire to talk to people while I'm training.
Yeah.
But afterwards, man, I love talking to people in the gym.
Hmm.
That's where I'm most comfortable. In the gym is where my personality really comes out where I feel comfortable and I feel like myself. And, my friends, Nick, Maxine, my wife, they always make jokes with me because we can go to any gym and I'll make a friend. I
Yeah.
promise you,
Yep.
and whatever. Being a bodybuilder sometimes sparks conversations like,
Hmm.
dude, what the hell do you do for your calves? And it's like, well, I train them and you don't. So, but no, that's a huge stigma. I've only met, I've only had two interactions with bodybuilders that were really unpleasant. Like they were just rude. And, one guy even shoulder bumped me in the gym
Oh,
once.
jeez.
Skip was there for it. Actually, it was funny. Skip wanted to say something, but we didn't. But either way, I've only had like two real interactions where I've met guys like that, and it's so rare that that happens. But um, I think that's a huge one. Um, I think one big stigma that is anxiety provoking for people is they feel like other people are judging them.
Yes.
People are not judging you in the gym. There's going to be a few, people that are just nasty people, just gross humans, right? Just shitty people. They're going to judge other people. They're going to make fun of other people. They're going to make fun of their form, but they're the outliers. Most people, even if you think they're watching you and like judging you, they're not. They're really
It's
not. They're probably just bored
so
in between their sets, just kind of looking around. And um, I think the stigma is like, hey, let's say you just got into a gym, you're a couple of years in. The gym is such a vulnerable spot, right? You feel exposed when you're first in a gym. It took me a long time to even go to a public gym because I was so incredibly insecure about myself. I hated the way I looked and felt and things like that. So I would go into a gym where, guys my age were in really good shape and they had a bicep vein and they had biceps. And I was just, pudgy and scrawny and all the best of both worlds, right? Fat and no muscle. Um, so I was very insecure in the gym. And like within a very short time period, I'm like, oh, no one's judging me. Like, if anything, people were encouraged by how hard I was training. And I then started getting comments like, hey, dude, like, I see you killing it again. Like, oh, like, thanks. I thought you were going to tell me you could see my love handles over my gym shorts, right? And no, it wasn't like that. It was like, hey, dude, you're killing it. I'll see you tomorrow. It's like, cool, dude, see you tomorrow, right? Um, I think that is one of the biggest stigmas is even fast forward to you being a competitor now. Like, hey, are people watching me because you know, I don't know, because I'm the girl with a lot of muscle or I'm the girl in really good shape. Are they judging me? And it's like, maybe just a few, but no, probably not. Probably not. It's in our own head. We,
hmm
we get, just as humans, when I say we get really good at just like putting our own junk in our head and drawing conclusions from things that are not factual. And we just make them out to be factual, right? And um, because of stigmas that we hear or see online. And the problem is you get all these viral social media posts of people filming other people and making fun of them. And it's like, that stuff's not really happening in the gym. I don't, I've rarely ever seen something like that happen. So I think that's a stigma, just being judged, right?
Yeah. And it's funny that you bring that up specifically for this question by this person that asked it, because we were just talking about that
Oh,
last
wow.
week at
Okay.
our training session. How a lot of times people will think that we're looking at, you get done with like an intense set and you're literally just in, I
Just
call it,
seeing Tweety birds.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're in that like just mindless state where you're just sitting there, staring into the ether, just
Yeah.
contemplating life decisions after
Yeah.
what just happened. And then somebody will turn around and you don't even realize they're looking at you, looking at them, but you're not looking at that. You're like looking through them.
You're
Like
looking through them. Yeah.
there's nothing here. I'm not like I couldn't even tell you what you just got done doing. And so we were just laughing about that. But I think it's funny because a lot of times, somebody will think, oh, they're looking at, chances are they're not. They're looking through you and not in a rude way.
Yeah.
They're just in their own space.
No, I think it was Big Paul, Paul Barnett. I think he had a story where like he was on like a leg machine or something. He just like killed a hard set of legs or chest press, whatever it was, and he's sitting on this machine, just like staring
Yeah.
straight. And this woman like went and she either told the front desk or she made a comment. She thought that he was staring at her, and he's like, I like am trying to gain function of my
Yeah.
brain again. Like, trust me, you're the last thing I'm thinking about. Like, he's probably thinking about his post-workout meal, you know? Like
Right.
that's what I've been thinking about lately. Like, I can't wait to get home and eat my meal, you know?
Oh yeah. Awesome. Oh, here she is. She just can't
There she is.
can't leave it alone. Say hi. All right, we'll go in a second. Down. All right, I'll bring us out. Great episode, Tommy. We obviously wish you nothing but the best and know you're going to kill it moving forward in the new venture, although it is scary. But with that being said, tell the people how they can get a hold of you if they would like some coaching.
Yeah, I mean, if you want my son to be able to eat now, now that I don't have a job, no, I like honestly, first and foremost, I just wanted to thank, all my current clients, all my future clients, all my mentors, my wife, you, all my friends, like, you know, that just believe in me. Doesn't make sense to me, but so TommyJohnCoaching.com, Tommy John Coaching on Instagram, and the ChaseIronsForum.com is where you can find me. How about
Uh,
you, Devin? Oh, you know what? That pre-workout, premeditative,
uh-huh.
good stuff.
Thank you. Well,
Good
okay,
stuff.
let's do this.
Yeah,
We'll do a
yeah.
supplement review on the next episode.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, good. Yep, let them know
So
where they can find you.
absolutely. So, and again, for everybody out there, for less than a cup of Starbucks a day, you can make sure that Tommy's son is eating. Uh, so for anybody that is interested, Instagram, dgrow39, for coaching inquiries, whether it be lifestyle, competition, or men's physique posing. I only do men's physique. I don't step outside of my box. Um, nxtlevel-training.com or Devon at nxtlevel-training.com. All of that you can find in the show notes down below. And then again, this show is sponsored by Get GeForce, GeForce supplements. You can find them at www.getgeforce.net. There is a code that will be in the comments that I believe will give you 15% off. Other than that, that does it for another episode of Beyond the Bar. We appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and send this to one person that you think would benefit from it. That's
Yep.
all we ask. And we will catch you guys next time.